Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday. It is 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. It's a Friday. Woo! Friday. Woo! Yeah, Friday. Anyway, it's Friday. I hope everybody's doing well and hope their week went well. Got lots of stuff done this week, so it was a busy week and things keep moving. So this is 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. Please like and subscribe. What we do here is talk about little Scrum topics or Agile topics related to business, IT, and other things, because I believe Agile and IT don't always have to be just IT related. Uh, it is looks around 5:10 a.m. So we're going to get going here and go through a couple of topics. One thing I saw the other day, I had all these fortune cookies, right? See the fortune cookies. And I was kind of curious. I wanted to open them. And they're not pre-printed fortune cookies that I went and got my own custom thing. So I was just curious from a fortune cookie. Open the fortune cookie. Let's see what the fortune has to say. There we go. Here we go. Luck sometimes visit a fool, but it never sits down with him. You got that? So I don't know if that's Agile or not. Luck sometimes visits a fool, but it never sits down with them. Maybe in Agile, we practice a lot of stuff we preach. So being lucky in Agile doesn't happen because it's lucky. You have to practice at it. So don't be a fool. Be smart at what you do and how you operate your business. I don't know if that makes any sense. But anyway, figured I'd open the fortune cookie. I had a whole handful of them from the other day. So with that, let's talk about two topics. One, I want to talk about the idea of tossing something around to control the daily scrum. So a lot of places they say in daily scrum, you have one person talk at a time, and then you go around the room. This only works when you're all co-located. When you're not co-located, it doesn't work as well. Though if you have most of the people in one area and a couple people scattered, then you can use what they call a talking stick or a talking object to maintain the flow of communications. It's one of the reasons why I offer, and I try to tell everybody, make a list on your agenda for your daily scrum when you invite them, who all talks and when they talk, and actually print the list out if possible and leave it in your scrum rooms or online so people can see who's next on the conversation. So anyway, so you get the idea of handing something off. So if you were going to do it, I like changing up, like here's a Phillies cap if you're not a Phillies. Like maybe you toss the Phillies cap. Or maybe you have a basketball when basketball season comes and you just toss the basketball out, right? Woo, 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 woo. GBD. Anyway, I've done it where I had a little, come the fall, I'll get pumpkins and gourds, little tiny gourds, and I'll hand the gourds around just to change up everything. So it's not the same old talking stick. In the winter, I've used a little stuffed animal that was a snowman. However, what I've learned is that come cold and flu season, no one's going to hand off the talking stick or the ball. No one wants it from somebody else, and no one wants to give it to anybody else. So come cold and flu season, the whole idea of tossing a ball, it fails. So you can get your team all readied up with that kind of mechanism. But I will tell you, it will go away come the cold and flu season here, which is usually like January, February. So if you get them used to using the talking stick, it's not going to work all year long. So again, do some seasonal stuff. Baseball, basketball, gourds, snowman in wintertime. Break it up. But I just want to give you a heads up, though, if you do use that technique, that it will fail come January, February, March here in the States. So, because it's cold and flu season, and anyone wants to take something, right, and hand it off to the next person, as cold and flu. Especially if you can do it, or if you can do it, make something hard like this for something soft and fluffy like a stuffed animal, because at least you can sanitize this with hand sanitizer. You can't sanitize a fluffy animal. So if you're going to do it, get something hard and plasticky, or don't use glass. Plastic better. So you can't hurt each other. Anyway, so that's talking about the talking stick and how to use that. The other thing I want to talk about is refinement sessions. I think that's going to become a ceremony or an event. There's a new terminologies out there, says we call everything events. But refinement. When you refine, you don't need to be writing your stories and your features in the refinement session. That's not supposed to happen. That's why everybody gets paid to do their job, to write stories, at least the basics of the stories. So when you come to a meeting in a refinement session, you should be tweaking the stories, not writing the stories. And in fact, I don't even know about tweaking it. I'd rather write comments in my story and give assignments for people to follow up with some additional information. Because theoretically, if you've done this for a while, it shouldn't take long to do it. But what are the goals of getting out of refinement? And I think a lot of meetings, when you facilitate these meetings, the reason why they take so long is people don't remember the goals of the meeting or what's the outcome. For example, refinement meetings only have two real goals. One, you want to make sure there's an understanding of the story or feature that you're going to be building. And two, you want to come up with an estimated size. In my opinion, those are the only two things you need. You don't need a 50 million hour conversation. So when you look at a story, the story should be like, does it have enough information in it? Does it have a napkin drawing? Does it have a wireframe? Does it have some data, that a database that we're going to use to verify? Does it reference that, right? If there's any special data that the customer would want us, like a new customer format. Theoretically, if it's an existing customer format that's already in the system and you don't need to have that in each and every story, please don't repeat all your test cases or all your basic stuff that you validate for your code in every story. It's overkill. I think I've actually seen people do that. It should just be the new stuff related to the specific story or feature at hand. So to get an understanding, can I build this and can I test this? That's all you need to know from a basic understanding. One, do I have enough information to build it? Do I have a good enough understanding to build it? And do I have a good enough understanding to know what I got to do to test it? And testing shouldn't be so complicated either. Story should be small and point, and very easy to verify. So from an understanding, you want to be able to know that you can build it and test it. That's all you need to do. If a story comes to a refinement session and there's not enough information to build it, you send the story back to the product owner to refine the story on their own. You may give them some action items. We need this, it's missing this. And they go back and work it. You do not work it during the refinement session. It's a waste of time, a waste of everybody's time. Unless there's some specific item that really needs to be addressed, and that you can type in later on anyhow. You can write to yourself, to my testing person or whatever, hey, add a couple of acceptance criteria to the story. But you don't need to do it in that room, and people can do that at their desk. That's what they get paid for, not to sit in the room and take everybody's time. So that's that, getting to know it in refinement session. The reason why I talk about this is because people spend way too much time in refinement sessions. I hear hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour refinement sessions, and it should not be that long. Ideally for a sprint, if you spend an hour, that's way too much time. It should be maybe a half hour to an hour per week on refining stories, just to make sure your backlog's going. Because it is good to give feedback back to the product owner and make sure it is what you want. When you do get that, so now the next part is called get the estimate. One, you can do pointing, hours, whatever you want. Typically, I like pointing. I don't like hours. I'm not an hours kind of Scrum Master or Agile coach. Only hours I do is if I really have to do it. Not a big. But we'll talk about hours later in another episode. But anyway, so let's say we're pointing at the stories. So I really recommend doing planning poker. And maybe we should do a planning poker series. I should have brought my deck of cards, but it's live. I didn't think about it. So I'll do an episode with planning poker with the cards. Um, and we'll talk about that. But there's a lot of online planning poker, and I really like them. When I see teams really use it, they all like the online planning poker games. Maybe you could do some ads and sell some things, but they all like the online planning poker. And what I like about it, the idea of playing poker, is that everybody at the same time casts a vote. 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, and so on, right? 21 and higher. And they all do it at the same time. And then what you have a discussion are the extremes. If I got a bunch of 3s and I got a 2 and I got an 8, you talk about the 8 and you talk about the 2. You don't talk about all the ones in the middle because everybody kind of knows they're all kind of gravitating to the same number. You talk about the extremes, right? So you get the 8, maybe they says, well, we got this test case and you forgot about that. And maybe that'll convince the team to go up a little bit in their voting, and you get the lower one. But we did this before. We did this like 3 sprints ago. It was very similar coding. So we just need to take the code from three sprints ago and readapt it. Maybe it goes down to the lower number. Maybe they come back together and come to an agreement. Maybe it's a 5-point story. I don't know. But however, that's the discussion. So what you're creating is that, in the 3 C's, the conversation part. So that's where the technical side conversation comes into. It's not really into, do I have enough information to the story? Do I have enough information to develop this, to code line by line, and my tasking and my hours and all that? So the first part, do I have enough information? I should be able to build it and test it. Yeah. And then the conversation kind of also happens during the sizing estimate process when you're pointing, because then you get a real technical, why do I think it's higher and why do I think it's lower? And that planning poker session should only take, I don't know, a minute or two. It doesn't really take long. I don't think I've seen it last more than 5 minutes if it's done right, per 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 story. So if you think about it, let's say max 5 minutes per story, and you have a 30-minute session. That's 6 stories, right? So if you do uh, an hour-long session, you do it twice a week, or twice a sprint. If you have a 2-week sprint, I mean that's 12 stories. So theoretically, you should be able to have at least 12 stories. And I'll be honest with you, it doesn't take 5 minutes. Most places for the planning poker takes about a minute or two. Once you get going, the first couple times like 5 minutes. In case it's 5 minutes if no one really has a thing. And I will say, if it really takes 5 minutes, then the story is written wrong. And as a facilitator for Scrum Master, if it takes more than 5 minutes to talk about it, you know what? Maybe you need to take the story out and have if you have some senior people, product owner, go out and work the story a little more. But it shouldn't take more than 5 minutes to story. I mean, if it does, again, take it out, reject the story, have them rework it, get it ready for the sprint planning day. So those are the 2 things I have. Hope all well. It's Friday. Happy scrumming. Enjoy your day. Maybe go out and get treat yourself to something on a Friday. Got our fortune cookie again. Here's our fortune for today. Luck sometimes visits a fool, but it never sits down with him. So a fool always gets lucky every once in a while, but not all the time. So what we need to do is work hard at what we do and try everything. So again, like us and subscribe, please. 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. Tell your friends. We're almost there to the magic number of 100. Hopefully we'll get there this weekend. I'm going to be out of town in Vegas, so maybe Monday Morning, we're due the what fun thing you did and what fun thing you planning to do next. I'm gonna be a little bit late, probably about 2 hours later on doing the show, so it'll probably be 7 a.m. East Coast time next 2 days. But I am planning to do the daily scrums even while I'm in Vegas. Maybe I'll do it with the casino in the background. Anyway, hey, have fun. Enjoy your daily scrum. Maybe you change it up. Football season's here. Maybe next time I bring the football and we'll pass the football around. All right. Take care. And you guys, you have a great day and enjoy the day. It's Friday. Have fun. And don't forget to have some fun over the weekend, because that's why we do this Agile thing. And then tell us all Monday the fun thing you did so we can get to know you better. And please feel free to comment in LinkedIn. You can find me as Mester, Mester. You'll see me as an Agile cheerleader. I wrote that as my thing because I like Agile. And like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Share. And you all have a great day and great weekend. Take care. Bye.